Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, January 3/1/2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tonight around 9 p.m. Eastern. When we give our attention, we give our soul. One moment of pure attention is worth a pound of gold. Lisa Guyman. Everything that we do, we are creating. There's never, it's second to second, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, month to month, year to year, week to week. And we're doing it all the time. And it can't be stopped. So picture that you are creating 24/7. Whether it be your life, situations, positive, negative, everything. And for the civilization, there are planets that where the civilization's all uniform from the standpoint they're all on the same page. They're not fragmented. They aren't going off in thousands of different directions from perspectives, programming, and conditioning. So that's a real huge, smooth transition for ascension. This planet is much different because it is fractured in many different directions. Because of the programming conditioning, people are in many different directions, many different beliefs, many different attitudes. So it makes the transition of this planet astronomical to accomplish it. Now, you could say that, well, why couldn't we just wash over the whole civilization, fix everything, right? Then they'll be all on the same page, and then they all send together. But there's a funny thing about the universes. And there's certain things that you can do, right? But you have to get permission. And that might sound strange to some people. Wow, the heck with the permission. We should just be able to do that. Fix them all, without them knowing about it. But there is a free will. So you don't mess with that. Karma's too huge when you do. So we do it this way. Each of us wake in our own time. Now, does that mean that everybody will awaken and be aware in this lifetime? Most likely not. So this is why, how do we affect all of those that could be family members, spouses, strangers that you just kind of interact with on occasion? Acquaintances type thing that you've experienced they're so deeply rooted that they, no matter how you approach it, delicate as possible, they don't get it. They just don't get it. Even though, we know there's gods within those bodies. Just like in our bodies. Supremely omnipotent, powerful being that never dies. So, but the physical, the illusion of disconnection is what grips them. So how do we affect them? With our vibrational frequency. And oftentimes you might know that when you read about different species of life, right, animals, how they've gone extinct, what happened, how did they go extinct? Well, either their food supply, whatever it was that they preyed upon, disappeared, so therefore they disappeared eventually. Or they got to a point where they were pushed to the brink of annihilation, or let's say extinction. They just got pushed to the point where either they were going to evolve or go extinct. Now, we as a civilization, you really can't say humanity because there's so many different versions of a humanoid, or arms, legs, neck, chest, head. So civilization. And you always have to have labels, right? We always have to have labels. That's why we call it human civilization, or mankind, or labels. When we're really a humanoid civilization, we're all in humanoid bodies, whether we're hybrids or naturals. Hybrid's not natural. A hybrid is hybridized. It's shifted and changed genetically. Homegrown, you could say. Humans that are homegrown, they're part of this planet because this is where they grew from. And, of course, there were some genetic modifications, unfortunately, from off-worlders. But it's what we put out. It's the frequencies that each of us emit. Now, obviously, if you're upset about something, you're just not going to emit a wonderful frequency, a higher frequency, right? A lot of us will get pulled in emotionally, and before we know it, we're upset. So we get upset, and many don't know to say, well, I really don't need to be upset, and stop myself. I don't really care to be upset, so I'm going to focus on my gratitude for this life. I'm going to focus on being grateful for the very moment I'm in. And it'll immediately shift you out. Toughy for some people because you want to gravitate towards being upset. Lower frequencies. We seem to draw ourselves to that because of habitualization, because we've gotten in habit through our conditioning and programming. But after a while, after you will, it'll be automatic when that comes in, okay, whatever it may be, you just kind of let it fade out. You don't engage it. Just let it fade out. This way you don't get upset or anything. You're going to have a little edge that's going to, poke you. Oh, no, get upset. Go on, let's get upset. And does it make any sense to us? Some things, when we get irritated, we will accomplish things that we normally wouldn't. So in a way, some of these emotions are good for us because they pull us out of stagnation. And many of us are in stagnation. We're in that circle, right? And that's where we stay, in that circle. Now, if it is to be, you've heard, if it is to be, it's up to me, right? That's pretty much on the money. If it is to be, it is up to me. And this is a real tough one for any of us, no matter what it is that we want. Emotional, right? Relationships, living, just living. Anything that it is that, and we all want something. It could be minuscule, small, tiny, but to each of us, whatever it is we want is important to us. Or we wouldn't want it, right? You might say, well, I want to lose weight. I'll be happy with that. Now, you know the difference between someone who has expectations and not? The one who has expectations will say, I want to lose weight by this date. Okay? I want to lose weight by this date. Well, someone might say it's a goal, right? Yeah, I guess it is. But a one that's not attached just says, I want to lose weight, so I'll lose weight. I might lose 10 pounds, I might lose more. Or less. And the belief, it's our belief mechanism that basically puts a kibosh on so many things that we want. So the dilemma for most people is, as Deepak Chopra quoted, in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, anything, for any of us, we have to relinquish our attachment to it. Now, a lot of people will immediately say, well, that means I'm giving it up. I won't get it. No. What happens is that our intention to create our desire, right? And we don't give up the desire. We give up our attachment to the result. So we let it go. Basically, we let it go. We put it out. We heart-mindedly put it out. And then we just kind of leave it alone. We just leave it alone. And we're good if it does, and we're good if it doesn't. You're kind of like neutral. But you're excited about it because, and then you bring in the confidence, faith, and trust in yourself. 100% across the board, which most people don't have. And in the universe. It'll be a bell ringing every time. And the crucial part of it is that how many people, and you include yourself, how many people do you believe have that kind of trust, faith, and confidence in themselves? We're not talking arrogance or ego mind. We're talking heart-minded, all right? But it'd be interesting, wouldn't it, to know how many people operate in that direction, in that understanding. All of us are, now I'm talking about those of us who are awake, are literally manifesting a God-planet paradise. Is it going to happen in 2 weeks? No. But that's where we're heading. So if you picture yourself, steps, stair steps. And each step, of course, you stay there and you learn and experience, right? Whatever it may be. And you take the next stair step. You get balanced, you stand there, experience some things that you manifest. You keep going up the stairs. And that's where the civilization is going. So you get to the top of the stairs and you see a platform. Okay, so it's a, porch or landing, right? And so you stand there, it's much bigger than the steps. You finally get there and you're balanced, you have a lot more room, and you experience a lot more things that you manifest. And then in front of you is this door. Now, you put your hand on the doorknob and you turn it and it opens. That's a step. You walk into the door opening, stand there. That's a step. And then you look out and there's nothing but infinity. And you realize that you have literally entered a God planet paradise because of your peacefulness, contentment, no hurriedness. And the ego mind is a mere whisper. If that. But what happens to many people? They become what? Attached to the outcome. It doesn't mean I'm going to become attached to the outcome. They're subconsciously, they're just not aware of it, so they become attached to the outcome, and then that blocks the outcome. That blocks them receiving what they wanted. Then what? Then they get frustrated, let down, upset, irritated, and then they suffer. Every one of us can create a deeply nourishing, healing life for ourselves. And it's not that hard. It is kind of a trick. The trick begins with the decision to master your mind. That's the beginning. To master your mind. How do you do that? Well, you leave it alone. And you watch it. And you learn how to master it. Often the mind thinks like a beggar. Okay? And it cannot tap into the vast infinite realm of resources that are everywhere around it. It is only when the mind stops seeking, starts relaxing into itself, that it becomes rooted in the most empowered, authentic, and divine expression of who we truly are and can manifest whatever we want with effortless ease. So it's like I said earlier, we could just, shift everybody in the blink of the eye, but we're cutting corners. So we experience what? The process. We learn. That's what we're doing in this very moment. And we're like artists, all of us. Play, sculpture, painting, creating all kinds of things. And manifesting is an art form. There's certain things that you hone, polish, and fit into place. And see, a lot of people think that, or they believe that, you really got to put forth a lot of effort in order to get this or that. And actually, you don't. We were all taught and educated, modified, conditioned, and programmed to, that's what you do. You get a job and you climb to the top. Pretty much that's the social structure on this planet. You get a job, you climb to the top. What's the top? That's the irony to it. No one really knows what the top is. And most never get to the destination that they desire to get to because they continually interrupt themselves from the flow of abundance by allowing the ego mind to step in and run the show. Now, it just happens when we get crystal clear on what it is that we want and remove any limiting or negative thoughts about receiving it. Hold the intention. It's now coming our way. And take massive inspired actions following our intuition. Not difficult to do. A lot of people feel it's really complicated and involved. In fact, we manifest things every day without realizing we're doing it. Now imagine all of us were on the same page, so to speak, and we knew this. We knew it. We had 100% confidence, faith, and trust in ourselves and the universe. We were in our heart minds most of the time. We would focus on the now through our breath most of the time. And the reason I say that is that there would probably be times where we get pulled out into the ego mind yesterday and tomorrow, but it gets shorter. The duration gets shorter, shorter, and shorter. So you hold the intention that it's now coming your way, and you take massive inspired actions following our intuition. Now, we do little things all the time, every day. We just don't acknowledge it. You think about something and it shows up in different forms. Now, when it comes to bigger desires that feel beyond our realm of resources, what happens? Well, we tend to fall into old limiting belief systems that stop us from believing that our dream is possible. And one of the good things, there's many, but this one in particular is very self-sustaining and supportive. You say to yourself, anything's possible. Anything's possible. And the key element here for all of us is to learn how to live in a state of detachment from the mind. So what does that mean? It means that we realize that we're not that these desires or thoughts. It is in us. And thoughts that pour through our mind at high velocity. Yet we are the witness and consciousness behind it all. So detachment in this sense does not mean indifference, apathy, or lacking excitement for our desires. It's not a feeling of disconnection, isolation, or some strategy for creating a false disconnected state so that we can later achieve our desire and become momentarily happy. Having the intention to manifest a desire and being detached from the outcome is a very fine, thin line to walk. Having the intention to manifest a desire and being detached from the outcome. So it's a very fine, thin line to walk. And learning to dance along it makes us into a manifesting master. So how does that go, for example? Well, you say you want this particular house, okay? You're not on the market, anything. I want that house. This is why I want that house. Now, here's kind of like the tricky part. You really want this house. And you have the intention to manifest it. But you're not attached to it. Some people say, well, that doesn't make any sense. No, you're not attached to it, which means that, okay, I'm going to get the house, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Because when you do that, it doesn't materialize. Doesn't happen. And everything that, see now, when we have the desire, and we want this, whatever it is, but we're not attached to it. So it's kind of like, and this works, it works, and I've had a lot of people tell me it works wonderfully well, but they don't do it, kind of moopy or mopey. They just go, this is what I want, and if it happens, wonderful, and if it doesn't happen, wonderful. Okay? You detach from it, but you still have the desire to have it. But you're not attached to it. If you were attached to it and it didn't happen, you would suffer. When you're detached from it and it doesn't happen, you're happy, you're fine. Not a big deal at all. Okay? That's the difference. And I believe that we've all experienced that several times. We wanted something, and it's not like talking yourself out of it. Okay? That's because if it's ego mind, then maybe that's the case. But when you say to yourself, I really want this, but if it doesn't happen, that's okay. And if it does happen, phenomenal. And you know what? It usually happens. And the reason I say usually is because then in between there, we get fuddled up. And we step into ego mind again. And then doubt comes in, and then with doubt we negate it. See, and it's a spiritual practice. It isn't material physical practice. It is a spiritual practice. And it's a spiritual practice from feeling connected to the infinite source in all things. And that's who we truly are. So from this deeply connected space, we do not need to become attached to any thought or thing ever, ever, ever. This type of detachment comes from simply from quieting our mind, chatter, and connecting with our heart and soul. Our soul is already perfectly aligned with this entire universe. Already. Inherently abundant, extremely confident, and deeply at ease with all aspects of yourself. And when we are in tune with our soul, we feel relaxed, centered, and can find stillness within our body. Our mind is then delighted here and lives in a state of gratitude for all that is, and are okay with any result that may or may not occur. The reason we talk about this so much is because it is what we do. This is everything. Can you think of anything that isn't a manifestation? And if you did, you were able to, then that would be a first throughout existence. Everything's a manifestation. your relationships, your health, your spiritual well-being, your happiness, your content. It's all manifested. And surprisingly enough, when we recognize that nothing has to go right for us to be happy, and that people don't have to behave for us to love them, our walk home can become surprisingly simple. Du Prather. Now, the inability to be detached, okay, because there's a lot of people that seems like they have the inability to be detached, is the main hindrance to manifesting our desires. If we are super clear about what we want in this life and have no resistance to receiving it, how many people, I don't know, maybe it's you, how many people have you witnessed or experienced where you give them something, right? And it's like pulling teeth for them to accept it. Oh, I can't take this. And you go, no, I want you to have this. Oh, no, I can't take it. No, I want you to have it. You know, it almost gets it. It's like what the heck? So you come across people that have the inability to be detached. And that's the main hindrance of this civilization's stopping their manifesting desires, which we're doing 24/7. When we have no resistance, I mean zero resistance to receiving it, our desire will manifest within a very short time. Yet, if we feel disconnected from our soul, we need the outcome to find happiness and inner peace, and the body falls lower in vibration. That's what happens. We feel we need to work overtime to arrive at our destination and live from a place of stress. Live from a place of stress inside. When we are vibrating at a higher soul level, it's actually effortless to manifest any outcome or circumstance. It basically shows up in our life because we are so connected and thus available to it. True detachment is a very advanced state to live from because we are allowing ourselves to be absorbed in a deep trust with this life. We are totally surrendered to this connection with our highest power and infinite creative energy within. There is no need for us to try to achieve any outcome or fall into a state of lack or neediness about anything anymore. We know we already have access to an infinite resource of intelligent power. Those of us who are awake to a certain extent, which can attract everything we need. We are simply happy within ourselves and our life as it is. And we can feel it to the core of our bones. See, they're superficial this way, superficial, not deep. And that's kind of mamby-pamby. But then there's the deep. So when we can feel it to the core of our bones that we are simply happy within ourselves and our life as it is. The more we can practice relaxing into our soul, the more you naturally open yourself to this meeting with the magical manifesting world around you. Through the deepest release, sweetest surrender, we find our personal intimate connection with the all-intelligent, all-powerful, deeply eternal, loving, creative source, God, that flows through us, that is us. And the more we practice this, we establish a relationship with it, and eventually find real peace with everything that occurs. There is no need to worry, hope, or fear anything in the future. You simply feel connected to this entire universe in all its glory and awesome power. And you feel okay with every single thing that occurs. We all know that attachment leads to suffering. By spending time developing our intimate connection with the source that flows through every breath we take, every movement we make, we begin to feel it is everywhere we are. From this ever-present state, we just know. We know we are always on the right path and can never make a mistake. See, you understand is that this society, it believes in mistakes. We don't make mistakes, we experience. Oh, you really messed up. Not really. I just had an experience. We stop believing in coincidences. We just stop believing in coincidences. The word coincidence really means something we use, a word that we use to explain things a way that we don't understand. That's what coincidence is. So we stop believing in coincidences because we know that each moment is perfect, divinely synchronized, and contains the magical resources to manifest any desire we wish to materialize. Manifesting, then, this is called super manifesting. This is otherworldly manifesting. It turns into this full, creative, mysterious, spiritual game to enjoy, instead of some serious achievement affair where positive results are needed to make you happy. These are a few of the signs that we are on the path to becoming a manifesting master. Many, many, many of us are attached to many, many, many different things. And it doesn't have to be so-called material, physical, if you know what I mean. It may be emotional attachment. You get attached to something, then it's gone. What happens? You suffer. What does the suffering mean? Well, you're disappointed, you're heartbroken, your heart aching. You suffer. We all do. None of us are exempt from it. Whenever we attach ourselves to something, we suffer. And the number one cause of suffering in this world is attachment. And it doesn't mean you don't have any emotion or feeling, right? But you know that whatever it is you're attached to is temporary. So then you say, there's no reason for me to be attached to it. I will enjoy it while it's with me. That's it. That's all we could ever ask of ourselves, to enjoy things while it's with us. We manifest things, and we're not attached to them, okay? And we enjoy them. How do I know that? I've experienced that a few times, as I've shared with all of you, is that I was attached to things. I attached a piece of furniture, or this or that. And I couldn't bear the thought, I could lose that. And so when the time came, right, where I lost it, I wasn't attached to it. Therefore, I didn't suffer. That might sound strange to some people, but you know, when I had a house, lost it. In fact, I went down to the mortgage company and handed them the keys and the paperwork and documentation. And I'm giving it back to you. Now, was I forlorn? Was I sad and disrupted? No, I wasn't attached to it. I enjoyed it while I was in it, but then when I lost it, I wasn't attached to it. It wasn't, okay, so I wasn't devastated. And each time, I experienced this a couple times, losing things, right? Losing everything, cars, whatever. And I experienced it, but I felt light. You know what I mean? Maybe some of you have felt that way. I felt like I was free as a bird. Didn't have anything. Nothing. And it sounds strange to people, but and maybe not to everybody. Excuse me. But you just feel light as a feather. You don't have a care in the world, right? You don't have house payments, mortgage payments. You don't have utility payments. All that stuff's gone. You don't have it. And in a swoop of the hand, it's all gone. So what do you have? You have you. That's what you have. You. Which is fantabulous, magna, glorious, stupendous. And I learned that too. People may seem, when you meet them, they seem to be attached to things. Oh, I just love this or this and that. Oh, no, I'd never part with that. But when it's gone, you enjoyed it, so you savor the memory of enjoying it. That's it. That's it. And you shift gears and you say, now the real fun begins on replacing everything I lost. It's amazing. Imagine yourself starting from scratch. Worked years and years and years in all avenues, different disciplines, different professions, and acquire, a lot of things. And then it's all gone. Now, a lot of people will be devastated because they were attached to a lot of the stuff. Right? Universe will leave you with things that are kind of like connections, I call them. Not that it would bother you not to have them, but you then discover them in the small pile of what's left over of everything that has been eliminated. Oh, wow, this stayed around. That's cool. I didn't know that. That's cool, right? So you learn that, hey, I just got this new car, and you love it, and it's wonderful, right? You enjoy it. Hey, clean it, whatever. But you know that if you ever lost that vehicle, you wouldn't suffer because it's okay. It isn't a big deal. And then you go to the next level and you realize everything that you amass on this planet is temporary. I've said it before more than once. Now, a lot of people, and it alleviates the fear of losing things, right? When you say to yourself, I know everything is temporary. Body's temporary. Everything I have is temporary. I leave it here. We all do. Is it leased or rented? No, it's just temporary. We use it, we enjoy it, we have different stages of our lives, and then we leave. And it all stays, no matter what it is. And I believe that some people get so frightened about that way in advance, okay? They're worrying about losing things, worrying about not having things. And it grips them throughout their lives. And then you get to people who say, well, how can you go through all that and still be smiling and happy? Well, because we have choices. We do. We have choices. And we say, okay, so let's start manifesting things that you want. And boom, it starts coming in. Now, someone on the flip side who's attached and they experience a loss of everything, then they're devastated, right? It takes a long time to recover, and then they're tender. So they put up walls, but they're tender because they don't really care to ever have that happen again, and they're scared to death that it has always a possibility looming around the corner that could happen again. Instead of saying to yourself, well, if it happens, fine. If it doesn't, fine. Because when you realize that we are super powerful manifestors, and the universe brings it in when it knows the perfect time. We don't. We don't know the perfect time. We think we do, but we don't. So the universe will say, okay, perfect timing. And so it's manifested when a lot of the times when people least expect it. So we have these positive source-like feelings that will do what? Will manifest and bring in all the happiness and satisfaction we were missing. Now this approach, obviously coming from the ego, that fearful, needy place which deep down is neglected and ignoring its innate connection to source. The ego is always desperate and always trying to make you feel secure because it's so busy and too busy to relax into the deep, eternal, loving source that is here now. The great cosmic joke, of course, is that the source is always right here, right now, and always available to tap into. And when we become free from the mind's attachment to anything, we start feeling the infinite love and energy within this source. And we know exactly how easy it is to manifest any life we desire. Join you in the meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take a slow and easy breath in through the nose. A slow and easy breath out from the mouth. Remain still. You are a powerful manifester who will attract anything you hold your attention upon. Start with a clear, heartfelt intention into this universe that your desire is manifesting effortlessly for you. Wow, you must have said abracadabra. Take this with you for the rest of the day and to the evening and night the following morning. We will return here Thursday, February 1, 2024, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, purest of the purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's happening within you or outside of you.